relocation of displaced residents of the old Fadama slum here in Accra may run into some difficulty as custodians of the lands where they are to be settled have raised objections. Now, Deputy Works and Housing Minister Samson Ayi had told Joy News the hundreds of displaced persons could be resettled as early as today, Friday. But both the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and the people of Adjen Kotoku, two of the sites where the displaced are to be relocated, say they cannot allow the use of their sites.
Both of the sites earmarked for the resettlement of the displaced residents of Old Fadama, Adjen Kotoku and Pokuasi, are both in the Gao South municipality. The slum dwellers were dislodged from their structures in a demolition exercise the AMA says is necessary to minimize the kind of floods the city experienced on June 3 as the slum had encroached on the main Odo drain. Adjen Kotoku was originally earmarked as the site for relocation of Old Fadama residents and the various markets. I'm currently at Adjen Kotoku, specifically the new market that was constructed back in 2010. Now, as you can see in the background, the market has not been opened for market women to do business right here. Now, this is one of the places that has been earmarked for relocation of residents of Old Fadama, popularly known as Sodom and Gomorrah. But speaking to residents in this community, the sense I get is that they are not ready to accommodate the residents of Sodom and Gomorrah.
The government say the people said this land is the government land. The people acquired this land for the palace, but it's not true. Nobody to agree the Sodom and Gomorrah to this place. Sodom and Gomorrah for an.
Are you ready to accommodate residents of Old Fadama who are going to be relocated here? Are you ready for them?
No, I'm not ready for them because, as we all know from the scripture, the Sodom and Gomorrah people, because of their lifestyle, their places got burnt during the Bible days. And because of even their name, we will not be ready to accommodate them.
Meanwhile, a court injunction prevents further development of the original site at Adjen Kotoku.
There was a dispute.
Between who?
The assembly and then the elders of the community. And the case is at court. That is what I know.
So it has not been resolved yet as we speak now?
Oh yes, it has not been resolved.
The other site which Joy News has learned government is considering is claimed by the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, which has vowed not to release it. This is the proposed land for the construction of the temporary structures for the displaced residents of Old Fadama, popularly known as Sodom and Gomorrah. But as you can see, there are no foundations, there are no structures on the land. So question is, where are the structures? Meanwhile, residents of Old Fadama who have been rendered homeless continue to sleep in the open, waiting for the temporary structure government promised should be available for occupation on Friday. Latif Idris, Joy News, Adjen Kotoku.
The Ghana Medical Association is considering government's proposed conditions of service for Ghana's public sector doctors. Negotiations between the two sides hit a snag this week, with the GMA raising doubts over the acceptability of government's offer. Sources at the GMA say is likely to present its official response to the Health Ministry by close of day today. If that response turns out to be a rejection of government's offer, the GMA could ask its members to resign from their positions in all government hospitals. General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Justice Youngson, joins us now over the telephone with some more on this. So, Dr. Jackson, good morning. Thanks for joining us. First, how would you describe your negotiations with government so far?
Well, the truth is that no definitive negotiations have taken place as we speak. No date has been fixed. All that has been said so far basically borders on some documents that has been christened the framework document that will be, quote, a guide for our negotiation. That is all that, as we speak, we've basically finalized or we have spoken about. But in terms of the true negotiations where government, as the employer, will have its representative or its team, and then the medical association will also have its negotiating team, the two parties sitting together on a table, discussing details or specifics of what should go into the conditions of service of medical doctors and dentists in Ghana. That has not happened as we speak.
Dr. Hansen, could you tell us the GMA's view on the offer put forward by government?
Government has actually not even put forward anything as we speak. There hasn't been any proposal put on the table by government by way of negotiation. It was just basically an arrangement that at least the Minister of Employment and let's say subsequently the Minister of Health, or yes, the two ministers basically had that. Well, the first stage should be the draft framework, and then we are going to be called to do the real negotiations. Nothing in the framework binds anybody. It doesn't bind government. It doesn't bind the medical association. It is the negotiated and signed conditions of service document between GMA and the government or employer for that matter that will bind the two parties. And that is what we are saying has not happened.
Are you looking forward to having this particular document signed anytime soon? Before your deadline, obviously.
Well, I mean, for us, we will give the employer the benefit of the doubt and hope that they are able to do it before the deadline. But it is not in our power to call a meeting to discuss that. We have already made the overtures, we sent our proposals and everything. It is government that has to, or the employer that has to table the meeting properly for us to sit and then we do the nitty-gritty. As we speak now, like I said, no date has been fixed as we speak. But we think that if the employer is fully committed to this process, the two negotiations spelling out specific details should not take more than a day or two, assuming government comes to the table with a team that has sufficient mandate to take decisions that will be binding on government. It shouldn't be difficult.
So the GMA still believes government is just not committed to this particular agreement?
Well, as we speak, look, you forget about all that had happened the previous years and decades. From November 9th till date, not a single meeting has even been convened or even a date has been set for the negotiations to occur. But like I keep saying, we'll give the employer the benefit of the doubt. But if I look at the trend and the sequence of events, it's really difficult for me to accept that the employer is truly committed. But like I keep saying, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We still have a couple of days to go. So maybe they will come to the negotiating table. Maybe it could be today, tomorrow, the next day. I can't tell. But I think that so far, looking at the trend of events, I wouldn't say there's that sufficient commitment. There may be some commitment, but I don't think I have seen, in my personal capacity, I don't think I've seen that sufficient commitment.
I see. Doc, so from what you're saying, do I get the view that there's still a high possibility, a high likelihood that sometime next week we are likely to see members of the GMA resign en masse, doctors?
Well, as we speak, that is it. And the National Executive Council of the Medical Association met yesterday together with the fellows who are like a council of advisors. And Council has mandated that an extraordinary general meeting be convened on Monday for all members to come in, because that is more or less the last day. So we'll convene, and then whatever directives that the General Assembly will give, it will be carried out, we trigger the processes, and that is it.
So in effect, what you're saying is that if government fails to present the document to you by Monday, you might have to go ahead with that decision to resign.
No, the extraordinary general meeting has already been sanctioned. Publication has already gone out, so we are not going to cancel it. We'll go ahead and have our meeting. And
if by that time government has still not responded to this, you can then go ahead and make that decision to resign.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that come Monday, we will go and meet. Members will be briefed on all that had happened from 9th November till that day. If there are any development between now and that day, we will still brief members.
Okay.
And based on whatever has happened or not happened, the processes will be triggered, whether all the things as we saw, which is not in the public domain, at our General Assembly the last time in Takrade, which is how we are going to go about this. If all that we sort out then is going to be triggered wholesale, fine. If they want to alter it because some developments have occurred, that will be up to the General Assembly.
Dr. Jackson, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your time. Dr. Justice Yankson is the Deputy General Secretary of the GMA. We're taking a break here. When we come back, we have some business stories for you. Stay with us.